Well, welcome to Get Celebritized, where I help my listeners and my viewers learn how to earn more so you can live more, so you can give back more, and how you can earn more and have a bigger life, even overcoming the most unsurpassable obstacles, derailments, pivoting, whatever the case may be in your life, because life happens, as we all know. So I bring on amazing guests that talk to you about their successes, how they've made it to the top of their industry in one way or another, but what might have stopped them and how you too can be unstoppable. So today is no different. I have an amazing guest coming on right now, Aoife Roche, and she is an international fitness model and a lifestyle entrepreneur. She runs her own digital marketing and sales agency. She has her own fitness brand and coaching program. She helps businesses create their own business ecosystem with a strong automation system. This woman is brilliant. She's sharp. She's fantastic. She took her business to beyond six figures in its first year. So, do I have your attention yet? I hope so, because I'm going to bring her on right now. Welcome to the stage, Aoife.
Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Hey, Ophi, I am so impressed with you since the first time I saw you on stage last year in 2021 on one of the biggest mega stages, talking to us. Probably about 700 of us still coming out of the pandemic. It was a big live event in 2021. And you knocked our socks off with what you talked about automation, innovation, the ecosystem that businesses need. So, talk to us a little bit about who you are and what you do for businesses, even the small business owner.
I'm from Ireland originally, and I'm now based full time in Los Angeles. My background, I started in corporate about 10, 15 years ago in corporate, and I built my way up the corporate ladder. I did what you're told to do, get the job, get the education, got the job, got the career, did everything that I was told to do, and got at that point, I got to the vice president of Barclays Bank in London for the franchise lending operation. I got there and realized that I wasn't happy in what I was doing. I was
Wow.
working more than, you talk a little bit about creating the life and having the life as well. And I found that I was working more and there was no life balance. So then I decided, you know what, I'm going to go into entrepreneurship because my background at that time was in tier one organizations to build large ecosystems of different platforms and systems. I thought, well, how about we just do that on a little smaller scale because the principle is the same.
Smart.
And then so that's how my company Attention Grabbers originated it. Well, first of all, it said, well, what do you do? And I was like, I help people grab attention. That's one thing that I do online. I help people grab attention very, very clearly. And then the second part was once they grab attention, well, then what do they do? And that is where I see 90% of the problems that people come to me with. It's not even, they've built their brand, they're doing their content, they're doing their social media, they're doing their posts, they're doing everything that they're supposed to be doing, but they don't have the back end ecosystem to support them. So their funnel might not be going into an appointment booking calendar. The appointment booking
So true.
calendar is not going into an email. The email is not going into a follow up. So what's happening is people are spending exhaustive amounts of money to get in front of people, but forgetting the most important part is do we have the foundation to support us to be able to take the volume?
Hey, Ophi, you are speaking the truth because what I do with Get Celebritized is that on a different way about getting celebritized, getting attention, but you've got to be leading them somewhere. And it's so easy for them to fall in the cracks. So you're spending all this time getting attention, but no money is being made. So before we go into that, which is very important, I want to talk to you about those systems, that ecosystem, because that is what they need to hear. Talk to us a little bit about what your tips are in grabbing the attention. The listeners maybe and the viewers might be thinking, oh, just do more social media. What do you teach as far as some key ways to grab attention? Then we want to talk about what do you do when you get that attention so you can create your 6 and 7 figure income.
Yeah, so I think the first part of being able to grab attention is to really get clear on who you are and what you do, right? Because when you market to everyone, you market to nobody.
Oh, say
So
that again. They need to hear that. Repeat, rewind.
yeah, when you market to everyone, you market to no one.
Perfect. I hope
Um,
everybody writes that down.
yeah, and it's just so critically important because just because we can do everything doesn't mean we should do everything.
Another golden tip. Yes. You're good.
And
Keep going. Got to
and
roll.
the last tip of that trifecta is the niches. The riches are in the niches.
Bing, bing, bing.
So knowing who you are, what you do, knowing who your avatar is and who your avatar is not, more importantly than who they are.
Hmm.
And then knowing, okay, what is the biggest problem I solve? Now, I had a client recently come and I've told them I'm not going to take them on for the moment because she couldn't articulate to me the top three problems she solved. She could give me 50 problems, and I'm like, I don't want 50 problems. I want you to go away and think and come back to me. What are the three biggest pain points that you know that you have the credibility, the authority, all of these things that you need to be able to help someone provide a solution? Bring that to me and then we'll market it, because the more you can sell to the problem you solve, the more money you're going to make.
Aoife, you have just summed it up in such a profound, simple way that I hope everybody rewinds that, writes it down, because you just gave the golden nugget, the golden goose of everything right there and then. I love that. Keep going. I'm not stopping you now.
So, and I think that really, the more you can get it clear about who you. So, let's say, for example, I'll give you an example. And I was thinking
Yeah,
about this morning because with all of the events, I'm getting a lot of attention and getting a lot of offers and opportunities coming
of
in
course.
different ways. But then it's identifying who's my avatar and who is not my avatar, right?
I
Because we
like who to say no to. I bet saying no is just as important to say yes.
Oh, and who you say no to, I would even say, is nearly more important.
Good.
Because the more that you say no to the wrong opportunities, the more it opens the doors to the right opportunities. If you're saying yes to everyone, you're going to end up hitting a ceiling because you're not going to have the time. And that big opportunity that comes to you, you're not going to be able to have the capacity or the bandwidth to be able to take it on. But what I realized this morning, I was sitting down, I was going through something, and I said, I'm very good at marketing, very good at getting attention, but I'm extremely good at helping people build a tech infrastructure in the background to support their business. And I was like, that is my skill set. I can
That's a huge
literally go
point,
in
though.
and look at it, and especially as women in business, and I don't want to play the woman card, but it is true. We are not always so technically minded, right? We're creatives. We're very much, we can go out, we can speak very well, we articulate our very self very well. But a lot of the women I'm working with, they don't want to do the tech stuff. It makes them like, get
Yes.
anxiety.
Do you find even it's a generational thing? Because I know my generation, let's just say 40 and up, we weren't brought up with computers. We weren't brought up with technology. Social media is not that old. We didn't really have a lot of it, in the beginning of 2004 and 5. YouTube isn't even considerably that old when you think about it. But the youngsters, and I say youngsters in their 20s or whatever, that's all they know. So I'm sure those women, those young girls now will be, the tech savvy ones, because they were brought up with it. That makes a
Yeah.
difference.
And even when we were at Mega Success, I was backstage and I was doing a couple of testing where I was people who were on stage, I was messaging them, adding them on Instagram, sending them DM, tagging them to see could I open up dialogues with these celebrities that were on stage, which worked very, very well. So when I was back in the green room, I was explaining to the other speakers what I was doing to open up these dialogues. And what I realized, and it was such an eye opener for me, is that I was talking about sharing a story, editing a video, doing a tag, messaging someone, and people were looking at me with a blank face. They did not know how to do what I was explaining. And there was a big learning there for me. Never assume that the people you are talking to understand. Always assume they know nothing. And then if you talk to
Good advice.
someone in a way, whether it's on a sales call or when you're trying to probe into problems to understand with their business, talk to them. Don't assume that just because you understand every aspect of your business, that they understand every aspect of their business. Because if they understood every aspect of your business, they probably wouldn't be talking to you.
Exactly,
That's just the
exactly.
reality. But we go into these conversations making assumptions that people have more knowledge than potentially that they do, and then everyone gets uncomfortable. Where I think if you can go into a conversation, position yourself, be like, I'm going to ask questions that are at such a sixth grader level that
Yes.
I am going to make everybody comfortable to know that there are no wrong answers, that there's nothing that they're going to tell me. And the more that you get someone to open up to the problems that they're having in their business, and the deeper the level you can go on the problem, the more compelled someone is going to be to want to work with you, because they'll build a rapport and people buy from people that they know, like, and trust.
That is absolutely true for sure. So let's talk about the people that have these entrepreneurships and you go from maybe working 9 to 5 to working 24/7 because now instead of like your 9 to 5 where that corporation, that business had systems and people and HR and different people doing all the different jobs. It's not just one person sitting there behind the desk at Google, let's be clear, or Amazon. They've got the team. But when you leave that, you don't leave with all of those skill sets knowing how will that work. You're leaving with a dream and an idea and a passion, but then it's just you. So tell us some of the first things we need to know as entrepreneurs to make our life better, easier, and scalable. And then we'll talk more about how you help us.
Yeah, so I think that that's one of the first things that when I left corporate, and I don't recommend anybody do this, I jumped out of the plane without the parachute, right? So
I
I
think many
left.
do that. You're not alone. I like it. I'm
It's always the
out of
rite
here.
of passage.
Goodbye. Whee!
We build the airplane on the way down, and
Right.
so
Sticking it together with glue.
what actually happened was, because of that, and at that time I didn't have the funds that I needed to hire all the people that I needed, and I learned how to do everything myself. So there's not a single thing you can give me on any platform right now that I don't know how to do. But the problem with what I did, and why I don't recommend this to other people, and this lends to your question, the time it cost me to learn how to do it myself would have been much better spent out speaking to people about my business while outsourcing that work to the people who were the experts in that area. When I very early in my career, someone said to me, to get to 1 million, you have to learn how to outsource. And I was like, yeah. And now I see what he meant, because you cannot, if you are the business, if you're working in the business, you are not
Mhm.
working on the business. Your
That's good
job
stuff.
as the entrepreneur is to build relationships, get on sales calls, understand your audience's problem, and create content that gives your audience value. Those are your jobs.
Well, Aoife, you said something in there that is the biggest question because this is the problem. And I know you're going to have the solution because you've done this. And that's why I love talking to people who are where my listeners and viewers want to be. So you come out of wherever, whether you come out of corporate or whether you just have an idea and you start as an entrepreneur and you need to outsource. You need to know everything enough to be able to oversee it. You need to know enough to be dangerous about every part of your business, but not do it like you said. But the funds aren't there yet because they haven't started the sales funnels yet. They haven't gotten the generating income. What do you do when you're starting out and you need that, but you don't have the money?
And I think it becomes a case of getting the funnel and getting the traffic, because people, they have a couple of problems. They either have a traffic problem or they have a lead problem, right? If you have a traffic problem, it means that you are amazing, you've created a great product or service, but nobody knows that you exist, right? And that's the first problem most people encounter. But if you want to grow and build a business, it means you have to go back and get a job for a while, whatever it needs, you need to build that revenue, which is a couple of thousand, to get your funnel built up so that it looks nice, get the copy set up so that it looks nice, and have someone come in, identify your avatar, work with you on the avatar, and at least start running traffic to your audience. Because you can be the best kept secret,
Yes.
in the background. And it's like, well, I don't have any money to invest in marketing. I'm like, well, can you afford not to do this? If
Mhm.
you don't do this now, you're going to come to me at the end of the year and we're going to have a conversation, and no, still nobody is going to know about you because you haven't put yourself out there enough with, because the problem with social media, TikTok a little bit, I know I just went back on TikTok again yesterday. I haven't been doing so many videos, but the TikTok gives you more organic reach and Instagram gives you more organic reach with the reels. But if you were depending on doing Facebook posts or Instagram posts and thinking that's going to get you, the metric from Facebook is they will show it to about 4% of your audience, um, your organic posts, because they are a business and
Right.
they
They should
want
pay
you to
for
pay.
it.
They want you to pay for it. So if you have 100 followers, 1,000 followers, doesn't mean you know that four people out of that 100 are going to see your post. So it may not be that your content is that bad. Maybe just nobody's seeing it.
Yeah, and I know it's gotten low. We're doing this interview in December, and I know Instagram's doing some crazy things on their demographics, on their posts right now for the holidays, that they're really catering to the ads right now and not the organic. And that just changes constantly to stay up with that. So do you suggest, let's say, taking out a loan or a business loan? Like, when businesses open up, they don't open up in their pocket change. They go out, get a business loan, open up their retail shop, whatever it is, back old school. What's happening now? Do you suggest doing something like that and getting a loan where you can hire the coach you need or hire the people you need to get the strategy and the business plan? I feel so many people are missing out on the business plan, like you just said. Who's your avatar? Let's get your copy. Let's get things in place. I feel they're just kind of going out and grabbing at straws and then trying to come back and put all the band-aids on.
Yeah, and I think there's a very key point here to raise with making sure that you pre-vet everyone who you do actually have a conversation with, because everyone's going to sell you a solution. But how many of those people are actually going to be able to deliver? And I hear this story all of the time. So, like, I have a situation at the moment myself, and I would consider myself to be pretty vigilant of pre-vetting people. But you know what I mean? There's been a significant investment, $20,000 investment, and there's been zero ROI returned on the investment. Now we are working to try to create a synergy, but I hear that story from people all the time where they haven't done their due diligence on so before, like, getting the money is important, whether you go to a business loan, whether you go to friends or family, whether you cash out on some investment you might have, whatever it is, because you'd be surprised what you can do with like with less than 5 grand. There's still a lot of opportunity if you meet the right person. But then you're going to go out and speak to other people and they won't even look at having a conversation with you, or for a funnel for less than $5,000. So I think you have to do your due diligence on the people who you want to talk to, and don't be afraid to book in for introductory calls with people, as long as that you have intent and hear what they're offering, because you'll often find that one person will say something and another person will say so. And I even do that myself. I look at, when I'm looking for something, I will go around to all of the different providers, I will ask them, and then I will 100% go with intuitively my gut, which person do I believe understood my business the most, or understood what I was going. And it mightn't be the sexiest offer, it mightn't be the cheapest offer, but
Yeah.
I know the person who literally took an interest in what I was doing is going to be the person, as long as that they have the credibility in the background, to be able to help me. Because sometimes you sign up with a marketing agency and then you don't hear from them, they don't talk to you, they don't
Oh,
engage with
yeah.
you.
The horror stories I've heard. Do you feel it's important this day and age to still go out and get referrals? I remember back in my day, before we hired anybody, a painter for our house, a nanny for our children, whatever it was, somebody to come clean our house, we always got referrals, but I don't really hear about people doing that much anymore. What do you say?
Yeah, so a large portion of my business, we're just moving much more into the cold traffic space, but a large portion of my business is based on referrals. And JT says this all the time: take care of your clients, and your clients will take care of your results. And I think that that is very true, because if you listen or hear someone, it gives you that rapport with the person, that you know that they've done a good job for somebody else, or sometimes it can be the opposite. So I think referrals are a very important part of the business, but they're not enough for you to rely on, because they have a dependency on human beings, right? And it is,
It's true.
we
What
want to.
didn't work for somebody could work perfectly for you. It could have been a personality clash or a systems clash. Somebody went too slow or too fast or too many details. So I agree with that, because there's many people that doesn't mean they were bad, but it just wasn't the right fit for whatever the systems were they were trying to learn.
Yeah, and if you're sitting at home waiting for your friends to go out and refer you, and that's the only way that the phone is ringing, you're going to face into a challenge, because you're either going to hit a ceiling with your network or your group. So I think you also need to have what I call the referral based strategy, which is what you're doing. You can create affiliate networks. You can go on people's podcasts. You can do shout outs on Instagram. There's lots of stuff that you can do that doesn't cost any money, just by being very good at building relationships.
But speaking of relationships, the referral part too that I was mentioning is, do you feel people call to get reviews? You were saying do your due diligence. Should that include calling up, asking, like say somebody was going to do business with you or myself, should they ask us for referrals, like 3 or 4 clients that have had great results that they're looking for? Or do you feel that's too much of the human experience, like we were just talking about? They could have different experience, but doesn't mean that that person that's trying to get that referral, that recommendation, would be a good fit.
So as much as you can on your website, because people are going to go and check. You want
Yeah,
it. So
in there.
testimonials used to be the way that we did, and then we moved from testimonials to case studies. So case
Oh, I
studies
like
should
that.
be, yeah, because you want a case study focuses, a testimonial talks about how amazing I am or how amazing you are, right? Who's
Right.
amazing to work with her. A case study focus on the results.
I like the way you worded that. That's the word I've been looking for people, because I've been telling you need to put those results in those testimonials, not just, oh, she was
Oh,
wonderful. Well, we don't care. Well, here's where I was. Here's what happened because I worked with this person, this coach. Here's where I am now.
and
I
that
love it. So it's
that's
a case study, much better.
that's what counts, right? It is, what results are you getting that person? And then this comes down to the part where we were talking about the tech. Then we have this whole area where people don't understand the data that their marketing agencies are feeding back to. They don't understand cost per lead. They don't understand cost per acquisition. They don't understand click through rate. They don't know whether the ads that people are running are good or bad. And what I try to do as much as I can is one of the key things that any of my clients do. I try to empower them as much as I can to have independence, so they know what different things mean. When we build systems, whether they want to do it or not, my clients actually have to have a walk through the system, and they have to go through the looms, and they have to learn how to work their own system, because I can't say I'm going to be here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to always be able to support you.
You're
And I
not?
want,
Oh, I
yeah,
thought you were just in with them.
but I want people to be empowered, whereas some agencies want them to be disempowered, because when you're disempowered and don't know how to do things, you have a heavy dependency on somebody else.
Yeah, and it's hard to let them go if something goes wrong, because you're like, well, I don't know how to do anything. I like,
Exactly.
yeah, I like the way you say it. Empower them and us, all of us, to know how to run it. So we know that. So if you leave that person for whatever reason, it ends, you know how to keep that going, hire the next person, or keep those systems running, because nobody lasts forever. You just never know what might happen. So that's really good. But it's a good confidence level for the entrepreneur. No, they don't have to do it all, but they have to know it all. But then a leader leads people to get that, because there's turnover in any business, in any job, in any position. So you have to know what you need from that position. Have those SOPs, those systems, those operational systems. And in, what do you feel like, in writing and video? I know my last VA put everything in video, and then we transcribed it. So when that one, her time was done, it was a very easy, here's the SOP to the next VA, and I don't have to spend a lot of time retraining.
And you hit the nail on the head there with something everyone needs to be looking at, and that's business SOPs. What are my standard? What? So the first part SOPs you want to be mapping out is your customer journey. What, when my customer comes into my business, from the point that they see me, whether they see me on a video, on an ad, or whatever, what happens? So they click a link, they'll arrive onto a landing page. Let's say, just for example, they arrive onto a landing page. Okay, so then they click the button. Where does that button take them? Do we have a form that pre-qualifies them? What questions are on that form? Do we qualify based on income bracket or earnings? And if so, which salesperson do they go to? And these kind of details are the ones that are so heavy in the beginning to do them. And that's why most people don't do them, because they're
Right,
too
and they
heavy.
don't know how. They get lost in the shuffle, like they don't know, and then they get all these too many chefs in the kitchen saying, "Do this, do that, do this," and before you know it, they've spent a lot of money on a lot of the wrong answers, and nothing comes together because they're a la carting it.
But that's because even this morning now I'm sitting there and I've been like doing my research, working with him, and he's multi 8 figure, maybe 9 figure entrepreneur, and we've been kind of bouncing back and forth whether I was going to do some work with him or not. But he's built a system which basically now integrates, puts, you have your funnels, you have your emails, you have your text message, you have your pipe drive, you have your CRM, you can put website, you have everything in a single location. Now that concept isn't new, but for someone to do it right, there's a lot of them that say that they do it, but then they don't do it right. So this morning I'm moving all of our assets over onto this platform. And that's one thing that I do is probably different to everybody else. I will not recommend a product service to my clients unless I've either done it or I'm using it.
Good
I
for
will,
you. That's
I
great. That's
will,
important.
yeah, I will not.
Lead by
I will not
example.
hire media buyers for my client, because this is what happened to me when I came to the US in the beginning. I hired an agency to do my media buying because I saw their ads and they were so impressed with their ads. And it's actually transpired that they're paying another company in a different location to run the ads. So, and I said, well, why can't I have the people who run your ads do my ads, because I'm paying you for that? Oh no, it's a different person. And that I did not like,
I don't
because
blame you.
so everyone who, whether I put media buyers or Google or YouTube, they all work in my business. They're all my pre-vetted contractors, and that way, you know what I mean, I have full transparency for any of my clients to be like, if this isn't working, I need to figure out why it's not working. Whereas when you go back and you say, well, these ads aren't working, they're not even in charge of the team who are running the ads.
I love that you're saying that, because that's leading by example, and that's walking the walk and not just talking the talk. And that's so important, because so much has happened these last several years where everything is getting lost in shuffles of third party this and third party that. Nobody knows who's doing this, and you try to get answers, try to get results. Well, I don't know who's doing that, or they're doing that. I don't really do that. It's like, and you don't find out until you hit a rough spot or you hit a problem. It's like, oh, well, I didn't know you weren't doing that part, or I didn't know you didn't do that graphic. And that's why I've become a much more supporter of a one-stop shop type of company marketing. Like, we know several of them, and you're one of them. Instead of, like I just said, a la carting, somebody over here does social media, somebody over here does my CRM, somebody over here, and you've got all these different pieces, and you're having now again a new job overseeing all these people. So now you're HR. Instead of hiring, and I want you to talk about this for a moment, somebody like you, Aoife, that says, I will do this all. I use everything. I work with them. Everything I'm going to give you is what we use to get to our 6, 7, 8, 9 figures. And I love that you're working with an 8, 9 figure, many clients like that, because they need help too. So it's not just for the little guy that, is desperate for help. You're working with big multi-million-dollar companies that still need to revamp, still need to upgrade, level up. So school's never out for the pro. So, and I love that. So talk to us about how working with you at Attention Grabbers is that one-stop shop to say, okay, because I know as an entrepreneur, it can get overwhelming. We don't know what we don't know. We don't know all the pieces and all the people we need. And to a la carte that can just be going down the rabbit hole.
So what I've basically done over the last 24 months is I have gone out, I've fired a lot of people.
Well, that's a good thing. Out with the old
I,
too.
yeah. But I have literally gone in and I have gone through, because I'm a media buyer, right? I started in media buying.
What's a media buyer?
So a media buyer is someone who sets up and creates Facebook, TikTok, Google ads. More so, I do Facebook more so than anything else. But so what that gives me very clearly, if someone comes in and sets something up, well, I can go in and look at it, and I'm like, well, why have you done it this way, or why have you done it this way, or why do we not have this? which most agencies owners don't have that level of insight because they're not that technical. And
Ah,
that's kind of what comes back to the technical. So what I've done over the last 24 months is to go out and find the best in the business and bring them all into my business. And each of them has their respective teams, because I didn't want to grow a huge organization that wasn't lean. And I think this comes from the fitness business. And this is what you're talking about as well. I want everything in my life to be as lean as possible, because the leaner it is, the more money we can make, the easier we can change. And it's when we put in all of these different elements and it gets too big too quick, then when there's a need to pivot or to change, then the whole thing just falls apart. So I was like, how can I set up something that I can literally plug anybody in on a wheel depending on where they are and what they need? So I went out and I got the copywriters. So the copywriting team, they do all of the copy for us. They write all of our blogs and then do some of the social media posts. So then I was like, okay, that's how. Then I went out and I got the Google team. So I was like, okay, I got my Google media buyers. They've done over 100 million in ad spend and PPC ads. I haven't done 100 million in PPC. So I was like, they're the obvious people for me to bring in.
mhm. Hiring
Then
people smarter than we are in those arenas. Go for it.
but because you want to be able to rely on people, and because my standards are very, very high about what I want, sometimes that's where I have the issue is what I expect versus what people deliver. There can be a bit of a gap.
Yeah, been
So then
there.
we brought in the Google team, then we brought in the LinkedIn team who's helping us with our cold outreach on LinkedIn. Then we brought in the content marketing team where they're drafting the content across all social media channels. Now we've just brought in, because the problem I realize now that most people have, even when I get them, let's say LinkedIn is one of the big areas that I work with, especially with like, the more multi-millionaire, the CEOs of the companies have created an amazing company, but nobody knows who's the person behind the company.
Yeah, no
No,
story there.
there's no, brand story or LinkedIn profile for their person because they've been too busy running the business. So they get to a point where they kind of go, well, actually, I'd like people to know me and what I do and how I got here. And then the problem I realized people were having, I was like, give me video. And then they were giving me video, and sometimes the videos were a bit, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that happens all the time. Most people don't know how to do videos.
So now we've hired a team of content creators. So as part of one of my packages, I fly the content creators out to the client site and they spend half a day with the client. So we do a whole checklist of all of the videos we're going to hit, all of the points. We do about 4 hours, and then that comes back into the offices, and then that gets edited and repurposes for the client, so the client doesn't have to worry about it anymore.
Hey, Aoife. Oh my gosh, now you're speaking really my language. You're talking about video and flying them out there and doing it in person because so many people are struggling getting really bad content out there. And everybody says, do reels and do this. It's like, okay, but I'm like that. Yeah, but it's got to be good. It's like everybody's doing a podcast, but it's got to be good. And they're skipping the training, they're skipping the quality because they don't know who to go to or how to get it. Or here's my next question. And I don't want to like sidetrack this, but it's important that they say, oh my gosh, who wouldn't love that video team to come out and help them look great? But is that affordable? And I know affordable is a relative question, but is that within reach of an entrepreneur that's saying, I want to look professional, I want that? Would that work into a solopreneur who wants to now turn herself or himself into that business owner, entrepreneur, CEO with things like that happening in their career and their business?
Yeah, so that's one thing that I've tried to really do very well in leveraging the relationships that I have is creating these strategic partnerships. So I took a leading role in a multimedia company at the beginning of the pandemic to help them build their business. Now, what that now enables me to do is actually have content creators at very affordable rates compared to what people would normally pay for
Right.
videographers. So then we only had that conversation last week, and we sit down and we agreed what I'm telling you, what we're saying that we'll send them out for is probably less than what most people are paying for content management on a monthly basis. Because
Wow.
my view on that is I'm prepared to take a hit on the front end because I know if your content is great, your funnel is great, we've built out your ecosystem, that the first introduction that they're going, it's in my interest for that to be the best that it can be. because then you're going to get more traffic. So I don't mind taking a hit on the front end. I won't even make any money on my videographers, but that's not the point. My point is I want to give the client the best experience so that I can create the ecosystem for them that's going to propel them to where they want to go.
I just have to give you a compliment that is so brilliant, such great strategy. And that is what the big dogs do. When you think about the very successful, you don't think small, you think future, you think big picture. You are absolutely so impressive because you see that. It reminds me back in the day when I did Mary Kay. Mary Kay, the cosmetic company, has been around for like over 55 years. And you remind me a lot of Mary Kay Ash, because I was trained by her back in the day as well, who thought very progressive, thought things like if you give more to the sales force, they will do more, they will sell more. Even during hard times, they will get out there and do it because they're happy, they're well paid. Same, you're thinking the same thing. If the client's happy, looks good, you look good, the referrals will come through the roof because their community is going to notice. Oh my gosh, so and so, what are you doing? Your feed looks great. Where did you get those pictures done? I have not seen video like that ever come out of your, TikTok, whatever. It will be noticeable how smart you are to say that is worth it on the front end, instead of what I normally see is businesses that do similar things or whatever they're doing, really, really just cutting corners. The prices are really high. They're not seeing the dollar behind that penny that they could save. And you get out there and get your customers results. And like you were saying, JT says, your customers will take care of you. Happy customers out there looking good. And all you have to do is show future customers. So here's 10 of my clients, what they're doing. And impressive, all the way to you're only as good as your worst client. You're only as good as your worst video, your worst content, your worst TV show. I always say you're only as good as the best. You're only as good as the worst one. And I just am so impressed with that, Aoife.
Yeah, well, because in 2023, and this is for anyone who's watching, like you need to be very clearly focused on TikTok, Instagram Reels, and YouTube Shorts, right? For your organic content, though, and it's the same video, it's the same vertical video that goes on all of the platforms. So don't do it all at the same time, though. Do mix it up because otherwise they'll be on Facebook and then they see on Instagram.
Right.
It's a bit lazy, and I know we all do it, but we shouldn't do it.
But not all the time. So you're right. Just make sure you don't do it all the time. In a pinch, it's better than nothing. But yeah, you don't have to just duplicate it. Do you help your clients with that? Because I'm glad you said that. Most of them know that, but do you help them do that? Do you help them?
Yeah, so we take care generally of all of the content. So why? Because when I leave it to my clients, it doesn't get done because they're busy, right? They're running their business. They're not in the business. So what we generally do now is we will take someone in and then we will schedule, we'll do a whole marketing strategy and a brand strategy with them. We look at, is this something I want to take on? Is it something I'm not? There are oftentimes I say no to people, but when I do say no, I will say, I think this person might be a better fit for you, or I think this model might be. It's not that you just bring people in and say no, but you have to be like,
maybe no, not yet. Maybe not just yet. Come back, get this together. Come back to me in 3 months.
Exactly. I actually did that to someone recently. I said, this is exactly, I gave them the steps. I said, go and do those 5 things. And if you do those 5 things, then come back. Because you don't want to be taking on people who are not ready for your services. Because 1, you're going to get frustrated. And 2, they're going to get frustrated because their expectations might not be managed about the results. But what we do then is we go in and we take all of the content. So we do I have a team of graphic designers in-house. So we get all of our clients to load up all their images direct. We do branded content. Then we get our clients to do the videos. Now, at the moment, they're doing them themselves, but that's changing in 2023. Then we put them in, we subtitle them, we do all of the graphics, we do all of that nice stuff. And then we schedule everything depending on the platform for the optimal times. Now, I don't always trust the platforms for the optimal time, so I always recommend people play with it because, there's not one source of truth. It's, you want to be putting out the platform when you think, and then tracking, measuring when you get the audience, but you want to be putting out on our LinkedIn product, we do 5 pieces of content a week. We do 3 posts, some are videos. Then we do the new carousel posts on LinkedIn. If you're not doing that, that's doing very well at the moment. So we want to get a little bit more of that. And then we write an article. So that's a blog or whatever. So my business owners I had someone talk to me last night. He got a big deal on the back of his social media presence. What are you doing? He hasn't even been on the profile, you know. He hasn't even, he had to go in and look and see what was there, you know. But people pay attention.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, as we wind up this conversation, it's been so great. Before we go into the last moment of what I want you to, if they could do anything, I want them to get started and give them some food for thought. But do you have like a biggest mistake you've ever made?
Ooh, the
I
biggest
know we all
mistake.
make mistakes. So what's like
Yeah,
a
yeah,
good
yeah.
lesson you want us to learn?
Yeah, I think like if I can say the mistake that's cost me the most amount of money,
Okay.
which you know what I mean, depending on whether that's the standard of measurement that you want to look at, the mistake that's cost me the most amount of money is trying to do everything myself.
You know, you're not
Yeah,
lying. You are not lying. All right. I put your website up again, but in case they're listening on podcast, it's attentiongrabbersusa.com. Attentiongrabbersusa.com. I want everybody to call into you. If somebody wants to get a hold of you, do they just, is your phone number there? Is there a discovery call? What's the first step? Because you have dropped so many golden nuggets, so much intelligent conversation and ideas and tips and do's and don'ts. If they're saying they want to know more, what should they do?
yeah, so they can go on and visit the website. I do give people the option to, I do a 15-minute introductory discovery call with people. So you click on the website and that will put you straight into my calendar. So you can get booked on and we can have a chat. Like I say, if I think I can help you, I'll tell you. I'm very, I don't know whether it's an Irish thing or not, but I'm very direct.
Well, I'm part
You
Irish.
know,
I'm Greek and Irish, so I get you. But we like that because we want to know
we like
you're not just trying to sell to everybody. That's
it.
very valuable. That's a lot of integrity that you will tell those call, yes, you're ready for me to be a good fit, or no, this person would be better for you, this company, or no, not yet. Here's some homework. Go do this and then come back. So it's not like everybody that calls you is going to get a sales pitch. You're not into that. You're into this long term. And I can tell by everything you just said, it matters that everything is done in sequential order, done well, because it is your brand at the end of the day, and it will be seen. It's not like you do things just on the back end. Nobody ever see what you do. Everything you do is in the forefront of your clients to be seen and praised or not praised. So why would you want to work for somebody or work with somebody that isn't ready or isn't going to be a good fit for you?
Yeah.
So really, really
Yeah.
good. All right. Well, my last question. Been so great having you here. I'm very excited about even meeting you and talking to you, Aoife. You're just such a gem, so brilliant, and I love that you're a woman in business and you just give everyone a run for their money with your brilliance and your execution and your integrity. With that, I love to ask my guests because it's part of who I am, being a cancer survivor, domestic violence survivor, just surviving a lot of that's happened in my life. How do you want to be remembered? What is your legacy?
Yeah, thank you. So I believe, coming from doing a sports background and moving into entrepreneurship, I was always conditioned when I was younger to not be a show off, right? That was one of the things, which is interesting. I created a company called Attention Grabbers, right? There's a polarization there. But my legacy is to help people to understand that it doesn't matter what you've been told or who tells you that you can't do it or it's never going to work. Like I became a world champion fitness model at 35. You know what I mean? Like that's not normal. And loads of people told me, oh, you can't do that. You're too old to do that.
I love it.
You know what I mean? But that is the legacy is to make, because like I've gone from a town of 20,000 people in Ireland to now being living in America and having a business in America. And I've done that on my own. So it's like giving, and my legacy is to help, and I don't want to localize to just women because not just women, but
Right.
empower people to understand it doesn't matter where you come from. If you have discipline, if you have dedication, if you have work ethic, and you have commitment to a singular focus and to a goal, you can absolutely make it happen. It's just a matter of time and attention. And if you can focus those things, then that, and if that can be my legacy, that people will go and there's a whole barrage of people behind me going, I followed my dream, and it doesn't matter if you fail as long as you fail forward. That's the only
Amen.
one.
Yes.
Fail as much as you want, but fail forward. So I think that's what I would like my legacy to be, for people to believe that they can actually do it. And if it doesn't work the first time, there's a whole list of other
Yeah.
letters in the alphabet.
Keep on.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're living that, Aoife. You're absolutely living that in spades for sure. You're already well on your way to your legacy being just set in stone. That people will say that I was able to accomplish my dream because you were in my life, that
Mm.
you helped. So there will be that whole sea of people that were better off, more prosperous, were able to earn more, give back more because Aoife was in their life. Attentiongrabbers.com. Get with them because Aoife, you really are, the real deal. And I can see, because I also know you as well, that you do care. You do. There's
Yes.
nothing in un what am I say, unauthentic about you. You're very authentic. You really do care about people. And you know that when people, when you say, no, I'm not the right fit, because you care about their results and you care about your results and your team and your business as well. So thank you for being here.
No, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me. It's been really, really great. It's been such a great conversation.
Thank you. I totally agree. So everyone, I hope you've enjoyed her. Please get in touch with if you'd like, and I hope you enjoy the show of Get Celebritized so your future can be brighter because there's no obstacle that can stop you if you keep on going. And Aoife, you coined it so well. Fail forward to success because we're all going to fail. You just have to get up. And that's no news to anybody that it's not those who fall, it's those who fall and get up. So go take action, get up, get going, and keep on fighting. And like we said in another episode, everything's figure outable, like Marie Forleo always says. So have a great rest of your day or evening, and we'll catch you at the next one on Get Celebritized. Bye for now.